All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you to room E2, where we've been graced with the presence of Juarez Filho, who will teach us how to do better front-end apps. The lecture will be approximately 50 minutes, with a few minutes at the end reserved for questions. You can send your questions to the address you see here at slido.com, and with the appropriate tags. We're in the room E2. So afterwards, your questions will be answered, and if we run out of time, there's also a speaker's corner on the lobby here, where Juarez will be present and answer your questions, and you can delve a little deeper into the technology if you want. All right, so without further ado, take it away.
All right. Is that okay? Yeah, I think so. Or maybe, okay. All right, so good morning. Yeah, I know. Okay, let's try again. Good morning. Good morning. It's better. Okay. Maybe after some coffee, we can, speed up things, but that's fine. All right, so I have some Firebase stickers. Yeah. So send some questions. It would be nice to answer the questions and give you these nice Firebase stickers. Okay, so first, this is my Twitter. So something is wrong, maybe? That's okay? Okay. This is my Twitter, so if you send questions there, I don't know if I can answer you on Twitter, but if you send the questions also on Twitter, I can reply via text. So it would be nice to see what questions you have about Firebase or progressive web apps or anything else. Okay, so to start, what is front-end web development? Who can answer this question for me? Come on, guys, don't be shy. All right, no, nobody?
I think what the end user sees.
Okay, good one. Someone else?
Just running just on the client side.
Good. Someone else? Come on, guys, let's interact, like I'm going to spend 1 hour here and I don't want to talk by myself. Let's go. What else? No? That's okay. All right. All right, so basically, when we are talking about front end, we have three main technologies: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? So who is web developer here? Some web developers? Nice, cool. Backend developers? I like to see. Yeah, nice. Android developers? Yay! Designers? No? No designers? That's fine, that's fine. Okay, so, and when we do web development, we basically can create websites or web applications, right? Of course, we have other things now, like Ionic native script, that we can also build native apps, but this is another talk, another story, so let's move on. All right, now I really need you guys to talk to me, okay? So let's try again. What a front-end web developer should be able to do? Some ideas? What?
Talk to a designer.
Okay, nice one. Next. Come on, guys.
UX, experience.
All right, good.
Think from user perspective.
Great.
Try to be multi-platform.
Good. I like you guys. Come on.
Talk to backend.
Talk to backend. Yeah. Yes. That's a good one. What else?
Start a virtual machine with Windows Internet Explorer.
Oh my God. Okay.
It should be responsive.
Yes. Nice. Okay, that's enough. Thanks, guys. So let's see. So basically, we need to know some, I got them HTML, CSS, JavaScript, libraries, frameworks, CSS preprocessing, a Git, responsive web design, testing, debugging, dev tools, automation tools, oh my God, web performance, command line, talk with the backend, with the designers, and much more. So it's funny because in our daily basis, we do so much stuff, right? We needed to handle a lot of stuff. And sometimes we don't have anything else to do because we are focused on what we need to do. So I also would like to tell you, if you want to become an Android or web developer, Google has this scholarship. They have this partnership with Udacity. So you can go to this URL and get for free a really nice course inside of Udacity to become an Android or web developer. Also, if you are already a web developer and want to try to get certified by Google, you can also go to this URL and try the certificate. I think you have 4 hours to complete the test, and maybe you are going to get the mobile web specialist badge. And yeah, so we spend a lot of time learning different things in our different fields, but I'm talking about web development. And I really like this quote from Ed Osmani, and he said, first do it, then do it right, then do it better. And it's funny because when we are doing our jobs, we are probably have some bugs, right? Because we know, you know, right? We are developers, and sometimes we don't expect the new accession point, right? And that's not good. And we have a lot of other things to deal with. And then that's what I'm start with Firebase. So we are web developers, and we need a really nice infrastructure to run our projects. And it's quite funny because I couldn't make my fellow colleagues to use Firebase because we have 5 backend developers, and it's not a good idea to show to him, okay, guys, we don't need our backend infrastructure. Let's use Firebase, right? So I'm not going to propose that for my current job, but I am use Firebase for other projects, and it's been really nice to see how it's growing. So I'm talking about Firebase for, I think it's 2 years now, and it's really, really cool to see how they are doing. And that's funny because now I think we have 2 more products that they launched this week at Firebase Summit. But as you can see, we have a lot of things to talk about, not today, because it's no time to talk about everything that Firebase does. So let's focus on develop and test your app, right? So you can do a lot of things with Firebase and the JavaScript SDK when we are talking about web development. So we have the real-time database, hosting, Cloud Firestore, authentication, Cloud Functions, and cloud storage. And in every app, probably you are going to use one of these products or all of them combined. And one good thing about Firebase is that you can use one product or combine with other products. So to start, it's a good point to go to the documentation. It's a really good documentation, and also they have available for other languages. And today I'm going to focus on Firebase with Angular. Any Angular developer in the house? Cool, guys. Any React developer in the house? Yeah, that's nice. That's cool. And any Ionic developer? 2? Okay, 2. Nice. Right. So how our infrastructure work when we are dealing with Firebase? So basically, we have our app, so the web app, and the Firebase JavaScript SDK, right? So this is how we communicate with Firebase. And then we can access other products, like database and storage. So when we are dealing with Angular, we need something else, because if you are going to use the pure JavaScript SDK, we are not going to have other great features like observables to be able to use our XJS and other things. So that's why we need AngularFire. So AngularFire is the official JavaScript library to use with Angular, and it's also built by Google. And so they have the Angular core team and the Firebase core team working together to build this AngularFire tool, and also, of course, the community. Also, you can use Cloud Functions. So if you are not going to put your business logic in the client, now with Cloud Functions, you can use that to be able to put your business logic on the server using Firebase. And also, all infrastructure of Firebase is backed by Google Cloud Platform. So I think we are going to have other talks related to Google Cloud here today, so don't miss it. It's really nice and really powerful. And also, you can find more about this integration following this link. But how it works and why it's so magic. So Firebase enables us to connect with any device, and when we have an update, it will be updated in every connected device. So we can use the amazing features of the Angular framework to build progressive web apps, for example, that is going to run in our desktop, in our tablet, or in our mobile phone. And with Firebase, we can really make it fast and have a really nice infrastructure for your project. So Steven Fluin is one of the Angular guys, and he says that AngularFire exposes Firebase capabilities with an Angular style API. So every framework, they have a style, right? So if you are going to use React, probably you are going to use Redux, right? And if you are going to use Angular, you are going to use other things, like RxJS or RxJS and other things. So that's the good thing about Firebase combined with Angular, using AngularFire, because you can use a lot of things, and we are going to see in a few minutes. So to start, go to github.com/Angular/AngularFire2, and that's funny because we have AngularFire2, and we have also AngularFire to AngularJS. So they are trying to solve this problem because Angular now is in the version 5. And we are using AngularFire 2. So I don't know how they are going to solve this, but you know, we are still using AngularFire 2. So we have observable-based, real-time bindings, authentication, offline data, NGRX-friendly, and cloud storage is coming. And if you really need to use cloud storage with Angular, you can go to this pull request and say, hey, James, please make it work. We need it. But while it's still in work in progress, you can use the JavaScript SDK to be able to use cloud storage. So, all right, what you can really do when you're developing for web with Firebase? So we have these 5 products, right, that we can use. Well, cloud storage, you need to write your own functions using JavaScript, and it will be on Node.js, and the Node.js server, and it will be triggered. You can use with authentication hooks, hosting, and other things. But basically, for web, we have these 5 products. All right, so the idea is create a simple web app, so you can check this later. The slides also, I have other resource for you. And everything starts with Angular CLI. So if you are a web developer and you don't like terminal, you better start to like, because that's what we do. You know, we use a lot of the terminal. It's funny because nowadays most of the things that I do, I'll go to the terminal and I do there, and I will go back to the text editor to continue my work. So basically, use Angular CLI, and Angular CLI provide a lot of functionalities for us to create a new app, to create a new component, to create a new directive, to create a new provider. So it's really powerful, and you can do a lot of things with Angular CLI to bootstrap your Angular app. All right, so after you install it, you can use the command line neg to start your Angular app. So neg new and the name of your application. Whoa, web app. Wow, so creative. And then after you succeed, you are going to use neg serve open, and you go to localhost 4200. So this is the boilerplate of an Angular app created by Angular CLI, right? So there is not much thing here. It's a really basic stuff. So we need to integrate with Firebase. And now we can use npm install Angular Fire 2, Firebase, and --save. So you need to use Firebase JavaScript SDK because it's the vanilla JavaScript that we are going to use. And the Angular Fire 2 is the library that is going to provide an Angular style for us. Okay, with this command, you get the latest and greatest. And then we need some configuration. So, of course, to use Firebase, you need to create an account at firebase.google.com using your Google account, right? And then you are going to your terminal, to your console, Firebase Console, to be able to create a new app. So I created already. And then you can use Firebase with iOS, Android, and web. So we are going to hit the button, add Firebase to your web app, and we have the configurations here. So the API key, auth domain, database URL, project ID, storage bucket, and messaging ID. So basically, if you need any kind of integration with Firebase, you are going to need these credentials, right? So in my demo, I'm using these credentials. If you want to try, you can try it, but later change for your project. And inside of Angular, we have these environments files, right? So you can use the environments.ts and put your Firebase configuration over there. And then you are going to import into your app module.ts. And then you are going to initialize Angular Fire module. That's pretty much it, right? So you import the Angular Fire module, and then you initialize with your Firebase configuration. And then you can start create connectivity with the Firebase products. So now let's add authentication via Google. So authentication is also something really nice that Firebase provides to us. So we can use email and password the normal way. We can use Facebook, Google, Twitter, GitHub, Anonymous. And if you have your own product with your own authentication, you can use that as well to integrate with Firebase. So here I also would like to say that you don't need to use Firebase in your entire app. You can use Firebase only in certain features, like for example, if you have your own product and if you need web chat, for example, you can use Firebase for that. And if you need, for example, notifications, you can use Firebase only for notifications inside of your product. So you can start use Firebase on your product today, for example. So inside of the Firebase console, you have this area for authentication. And basically, you need to enable the authentication that you want to use. So as you can see here, we have email, password, phone, and I'm enable only Google because it's the easiest way to use Firebase authentication. And another thing here, if you want to use any kind of different URL, because per default, Firebase enables localhost and also the firebaseapp.com for your app. So in this case, I have wowebapp.firebaseapp.com. But I was trying to demonstrate this demo using stackblitz.io. So I needed to put as well this URL inside of my console, right? So that's it. I enabled the Firebase authentication. And now I need to import the Angular FireAuth module, right? After that, we are going to use in our component the Angular FireAuth from Angular Fire to Auth. Oops. And so as you can see here, or I think you can see, so we have, I have this one here. It's better. OK. So here we have the Angular FireAuth, OK? And we're going to call this method sign in with pop-up. And here we have Firebase Auth Google Auth Provider. So if you want to change for Twitter, Facebook, or any other solution that Firebase has, you can change here. So for example, it will be Twitter Auth Provider, Facebook Auth Provider. And you have to do some configurations, like create an app inside of Facebook or inside of Twitter. But it's really easy. And you can change really fast this line of code. And after that, we can use the async pipe. So we have the async pipe here to wait for the out state. And then when we have the user, we can display the name and see other things. So you can also see the results via JSON here. And if it's not logged in, we can show, hey, please log in. So it's pretty simple how you can use Firebase authentication inside of your Angular project. And of course, after you click the button, you are going to see this pop-up asking you to choose the account that you want to use. All right, so that's it. Authentication is done, right? So as you can see, it's really easy to use any kind of authentication inside of your app. And if you want to try, it's pretty nice because it will save a lot of time to code this by yourself. I also have this gist here showing all the data that will come back from Firebase when you authenticate your user. So we have auth URL, email, provider data. We have a lot of things here that you can use. And also, you can see different things when you're using Facebook, Twitter, and others. Okay? So this gist is available in this URL, and you can check this out later. Okay, so let's try to store and sync data using Cloud Firestore. So this is one of the features that I'm most excited about in Firebase because we had real-time database for quite a long time, but we didn't have a strong structure that we could use to build our app because the real-time database in Firebase is all about a JSON file that you have keys and values. So you need to structure your data in a different way. Sometimes you need to create other structures and other documents. So with Cloud Firestore, it's really nice because we can do it differently. So when you go to database inside of the Firebase console, you have two options, the real-time database and the Cloud Firestore. So we are going to try Firestore beta. So after that, we can start in test mode. But remember that when you are going to publish your app, change to the locked mode, because otherwise anyone can interact with your data. So we have this collection here. We have this dashboard. And it's pretty nice because now you can add a collection and then add a document. And inside of the document, you can also add another collection. So this is really powerful because you can structure your data in an easy way, because inside of real-time database, we don't have this kind of structure. And also related to fields, we have different fields. We have relation fields, and we have also other kind of data that Firebase is going to handle for you. And as again I said, inside of the real-time database, we don't have this much flexibility, and I'm really excited about it. So how you can use the Firestore inside of Angular? Well, once again, you need to initialize Angular Firestore module, and then use a little bit of RxJS. So here, basically, what you have is items, is an observable, and then you are going to use this Angular Firestore, like a DB here, collection items to get the items, and value chains. So these items you can use on your template. And then that's how you use inside of your template, really, really simple. So for example, if you have an Angular app using NG4 with any kind of structure, so let's say that you have an Angular app using NG4, let user of users, you can change to Firebase only inside of your component, and the template will be the same. Of course, you need to also use the async pipe, but it's a really small change that you can do to have Firebase inside of your app. So this is pretty much what we need to do. And one thing that I'm really excited about is the offline data. So we spent a lot of time to have this feature inside of Firebase. And now you can enable persistence only calling this function here. And with this, you are going to be able to continue to use your application. So for example, if you are going to use any kind of added data inside of Firestore, you can continue to use even offline. And we are going to be online again. You can see the change, and Firestore is going to connect with the Firebase, and it will sync. It's really powerful, and you definitely should use that. Yeah, so because before with the real-time database, it was really painful to do something like this. Actually, we had the Polymer library called Polymer Fire that you could use offline, but if you are not using Polymer, you needed to do something else. And that's really cool because when they launched the Firestore, Angular Fire was already enabled to use it. So that's pretty nice. And Michael is one of the Firebase engineers, and he tweeted about this Firestore. So we have rich querying, web offline, Docker-oriented, and crazy scale. One of other things that we have is related to query, because now we can use where clause, we can use greater than, less than, and other things that we couldn't use with real-time database. So also, if you want to check more details about Cloud Firestore, you can go to this URL to learn a bit more about Firestore. Okay, so if you have Firestore, what are we going to do with the real-time database? It's useless now? Or? Well, it's different. So Cloud Firestore and real-time database, now they have different purpose. So for example, if you need to know which users are online in your application, you can't do this with Firestore. Well, you can, but you need to code a little bit more. And with real-time database, they have this in place already. So, and there are other differences that you can check also in this post from Toddy. that he explains a lot more the difference that the real-time database and Cloud Firestore. Nice. So, of course, when we are developing a web app or a website, we need to host our app someone in some place, right? So Firebase also has the Firebase hosting. And the Firebase host is your best friend because it's really easy. OK, so you go again to your console inside of Firebase. And you need to install the Firebase tools. Remember Terminal? If you don't like, yeah, you better start to like Terminal. So you use Firebase tools. And then it's Firebase login, Firebase init, and Firebase deploy. So it's pretty simple. When you do Firebase login, it's going to ask for login with your Google account that you have in Firebase. And once again, with Angular, it's really nice because you can change the environment to prod and put different credentials. So if you, what do we do? Usually is have a project in Firebase -dev and another project -production or -prod. So we have different environments to test a lot of things. And when we do something in development and crash the app, that's not going to affect the production. So that's what you can do in environment.prod.ts. And after that, you are going to use ng build -prod to build your app. And Angular CLI will do a lot of optimizations related to your files. It's going to minify your files and do a lot of magic to be faster. And after that, you need to use the Firebase init. So when you use Firebase init, you are going to answer some questions related to your product or your app. And basically, you have to be careful with this public directory because in an Angular app, we use /dist. And also, don't overwrite the Angular file that was created by Angular CLI. All right? So with that, we can use Firebase deploy. And you are going to see a list of deployments inside of the Firebase console. So it's pretty nice, and you can also revert. Oh no, something's wrong. We need to revert, and that's really easy to go there and put back the previous version. Okay, so let's move on. Nice. So also, if you need to develop backend without servers, you can rely on Cloud Functions. So you can run your mobile backend code without managing servers. Cloud Functions is also really powerful. You can do a lot of things. They have a lot of samples inside of GitHub. But if you want to know more, you can watch the talk of James in DDD Europe. It was pretty cool. And he talked a lot about Cloud Functions and what you can do. Or you can go to the next talk at T1. Sophia is going to talk about Cloud Functions as well. All right, so one last thing about hosting is that we are not more, let's say, because when we think about static hosting, we think that we can't do anything dynamic, right? Because if you are using GitHub page, for example, you can't do anything dynamic. But with Firebase hosting and Cloud Functions, you can trigger a function when the user changes the URL. So for example, we have the wholewebapp.com/JuarezPAF. I can track this URL and see, okay, it's JuarezPAF, so I can trigger something inside of my Cloud Functions. And for example, update the profile, last visit or something like that. And you can do a lot of things with Firebase hosting integrated with Cloud Functions. So definitely check this out. And if you want to host your web app or website. All right, I'm almost done. Yep. So Firebase Alpha Program is a really nice program if you want to be able to contribute with Firebase, and they launch new features that you can test before go live. And it's a really nice program, and it's funny because they launched the new dashboard last week, and I was, oh my God, I want to share this with the world, but I couldn't because it's inside of the Alpha program and you can't talk about that. But it's really nice, and you can interact with Google developers and the Firebase developers that are building the Firebase. And I found a small glitch on the new dashboard, and I sent to them, and they fixed it, and they, okay, Juarez, thank you, but now it's okay. So that's the kind of help that you can do as well. So Code Labs, if you want to try Firebase in a more deep way, we have a lot of Code Labs for Android, iOS, web, Angular, Polymer, and Cloud Functions. So you can really see what you can do with Firebase in the different platforms, and it's pretty nice. So we also had the Firebase Dev Summit this week, and they recorded all sessions. So there are a lot of great content there presented by the Firebase team. So definitely check this out. And the URL is this one. So firebase.google.com/devsummit17. Great. So if you want to start real quick, I created this small project inside of StackBlitz. StackBlitz is really nice as a new service that you can use Angular, React, and Ionic to have something online to people see in a really easy way. So you can contribute with other developers really easy. And you can see like the files, you can see the dependencies and a lot of things. So I'm going to show you this one right now, and another one using Ionic. I still don't have one using React. So the React developers, please help me so we can build this later. So basically, yeah, so you can see. So basically, this one is already the Ionic. So let me go to this one here. Okay. And also you can go to the URL, get the project, and fork and change for your needs, and it's pretty nice. Oh no, sorry about that. I got the same project. Oh no. This one, okay, great. All right, so let's see. So here we have the dependencies. It's still using an Angular 4, but I'm going to change to use Angular 5 this afternoon, so you can still use the latest and greatest. So let me log out here, and let me show you. I think, let me close this to be able to, all right, nice. So yeah, so we have dependencies here. So if you need any dependence, you can just include here, type in the package name, and it will install for you. And if you have external resource, you can also enter the CDN URL. So StackBlitz is really nice. All right, so remember that I told you about environment TS. So this is the file that I have here. And I have the app module here with all Angular Fire modules that you can use. So Firestore, Firebase Database, and FireAuth. Everything is ready to use. So you can just get this code and start to change and do whatever you want to do. It will be really simple to change things here. So once again, it's a Google Auth Provider here, but I can change to use Twitter Auth Provider, right? Or Facebook Auth Provider and other providers that we have. But I'm going to stick with Google for now. And yeah, CSS, a little bit of CSS here, and the same code that I showed you before. So when we go here, we load our app. And when we click here, it's going to ask for credentials. Of course, I already have credentials inside of that, and now I have my user here. So this is pretty basic, but you can start your project with Angular real quick. And I also have the Ionic version here. So the Ionic version, okay. So it's almost the same because we are also using Angular, right? So as you can see, we are using Angular Fire 2 here, and then Ionic Angular. It's a dependence to use Ionic, of course. And it's a little bit different, not that much. So let me close this again. So with Ionic, we have the concepts of page. So we have our pages here to navigate through. And again, we have the Angular Fire modules that you're going to need, right? So you initialize the same way, okay? And this is pretty much boilerplate that we have here. And if you already see Angular, you're really familiar with this one. So what do we do here? We have different pages. So I'm showing a lot of different things that you can do. So for example, database, you are going to see how to use database, query, and other things here. So if you want to know more about Firestore, the same thing here. And authentication. So it's pretty nice to see something already done that you can just get and keep going. So let's see how it works here with the different functions. All right. So I'm going to use again here because I already had an account. It will log me in. Great. And this is auth, so we can go to database and also see the real database in action and ask questions. How is going? Okay, and we send questions. And the Firestore, the same thing. We have some users here, right? And the storage is work in progress, of course, because we still need to finish the pull request in the Angular Fire 2. But this is a really nice starter to you to use Ionic with Firebase. I'm also going to update to other trick things, so you can check the links later on. For a more advanced one, there's another project that's also using Ionic. So this project, we have authentication, Firestore, cloud storage, and hosting. And you can also fork and send pull requests and everything. I have a list of what we are using here. And let me see if I can show you real quick. No, oops. Sorry about that. Oh, come on. What are you doing? Nice. What are you doing? Okay, I don't know. Something with the resolution, but I think it will. Yes, okay. Let's wait a little bit. What's going on here? All right. Let's see. Come on. Okay. Let me show the code for a moment, or maybe not.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're running out of time. So Can we get to the questions before?
Yeah, sure.
We end the presentation. I'm really sorry.
No problem. So guys, let me just show this real quick while I'll go to the questions. All right. Yeah, so here we have like a really more solid application. If you want to see, we can create events, we can see Google Maps, we can do like different things, configurations, a lot of things. So we can also use this as your starter as Ionic. I'm going to send the links via my Twitter, and also I think the organization also has the links later on. Okay, let's try to go back to the presentation to finish properly real quick. Okay. All right. So that was it. Yeah. And if you fail, call it version 1.0. That's fine. And thank you. All right. Let's see. How can I go Maybe no, maybe this way, no, maybe this way. All right. Can you explain how your data should look like for optimal Firestore performance? So, okay. With Firestore, basically, if I go here to the console to answer this question real quick. All right, let's go. So for optimal performance, nice. So you have here, I think this one. What? Yeah, okay. That's my cue. All right, so if you go here to database and Cloud Firestore, you have collections and documents, right? And you have indexes. So to performance, you can create indexes, right? And it will be optimized for the value that you are going to search for it, right? So query is really powerful inside of Cloud Firestore. So combined with indexes will be really good for you. Can you import existing DB scheme to Firebase so you don't have to fill? Yes, you can inside of the real-time database. So if you go here to the real-time database, you can export or import JSON. But you can't with Firestore yet. They are working on it, so just give them a little bit of time. Can we easily use real-time DB along with Firestore in one part? Yes, you can. So if you need the presence of the user, you can use real-time database. And if you have other areas like, I don't know, other things that you need to do, you can use Firestore. How much storage can Firebase take for itself on mobile device? So basically, it's related to the device. I'm not sure about this. I can figure it out later. But if you are using a web app, it will be limited by Chrome, Safari, or other browsers. And if you are using Android or iOS, I have no idea. So how can I scroll here if I have more time?
Unfortunately, we're running out of time.
Nice.
But you can answer further questions in the speakers corner, which is on the corridor here.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for your lecture.
I have stickers.
And remember to get...
So follow me, and I'll give the stickers for you guys. Thank you.